Immortal Soldier Funasaka, the model of Sugimoto Saichi from Golden Kamuy. Today I want to explain the model of our favorite Saichi Sugimoto from Golden Kamuy. If you watch the anime, you know he went through the war surviving any enemy attacks. Any bomb, sword, rifle, anything couldn't kill him. He didn't die in any situation, even being stabbed or shot. Surprisingly, this main character of the popular anime is based on a real soldier who actually existed and was as strong as Sugimoto. The person is Hiroshi Funasaka. Who is Hiroshi Funasaka? He was a soldier during the World War II. Although Saichi Sugimoto from Golden Kamuy fought in the Russo-Japanese War, he was born on October 30, 1920 in Tochigi Prefecture, Japan. In March 1941, when he was 21 years old, he joined the Japanese army. Soon later, he was assigned to a squad in Manchuria. Later, he became a grenade squad leader. He was a master of kendo and bayonet drill and a skillful rifleman. Although he served in Manchuria, the battalion he belonged to was sent to the Angao Island, Palau, because the Japanese army was struggling in the south and needed more help. He arrived on the Angao Island on April 28, 1944. Battle of Angao. Funasaka was fighting in the Battle of Angao. It's said that he killed over 100 American soldiers at the battle, but on the third day, he got severely injured on his left thigh and he was left on the battlefield alone. The army doctor found Funasaka. Seeing his devastating state, the doctor gave up helping Funasaka. He just gave a grenade for suicide to Funasaka and left. But Funasaka still didn't give up and continued fighting. His injury surprisingly soon recovered. After the war, he looked back on this, saying, "By nature, I was just good at recovering." With severe injuries, he continued fighting, so he got named Immortal Funasaka. However, the Japanese army was close to its defeat. Funasaka himself got a severe injury on his belly and he was infested with maggots. He was almost dying. He thought he would suicide rather than be eaten by maggots and tried to blast the grenade, but fortunately or unfortunately it didn't blast. He finally couldn't die. He was devastated, thinking, why I still can't die? In such a devastating state, he decided to commit suicide bombing himself on the US commander's camp. He crawled to the US commander's camp with his body injured severely and his clothes torn. When many US soldiers came there, he stood up and was about to attack them. The US soldiers got scared of him. He looked like a ghost. He was shot in the neck and the US soldiers considered him dead. The US doctor took him to a field hospital. Then in that state, he was still holding a grenade and a rifle. The doctor said, "This is harakiri, which only Japanese samurai can do." But Funasaka woke up and thought they felt sorry for him and couldn't be satisfied with being sympathized with, so acted violently, shouting, "Shoot me! Kill me now!" After several days, he was sent to a prisoner of war camp at the Peleliu Island. He was injured severely, so the US soldiers didn't observe him carefully, and Funasaka succeeded in escaping from the camp. However, he didn't come back to his Japanese camp. He was still planning to fight against the enemy by bombing airdromes, but he was finally stopped by F.V. Crenshaw, who served the US Army as a translator. He persuaded Funasaka to stop the reckless attack. Crenshaw talked to him about the revival of Japan after the war. Crenshaw told him, "If you don't return alive, who will rebuild Japan?" and let Funasaka notice how important Funasaka was for Japan to revive. He determined to act properly to make it to help revive Japan after the war. All the Japanese battalions in the Angao Island were beaten on October 19, 1944. Funasaka was considered dead, and his death was reported to his family in Japan. 1 year and 3 months later, he returned home with his uniform torn. His family and neighbors thought it was a ghost because they couldn't believe that he was still alive. After the war, going through the war, Funesaka noticed that Japan would be developed in industry, culture, and education by learning them from the developed US. So after the war, he decided to run a bookstore and also started to write books by himself. If you have been to Tokyo, you may have seen his bookstore. It's still located at the corner of the famous Shibuya crossing. His dream was to build a memorial monument for Japanese soldiers at Angol Island. With the funds from readers of his book and the royalty of his books, he finally made it to build a memorial monument at Angol Island. After building the monument, he still got more royalty in his books. He mainly didn't use it for himself, but donated to the International Red Cross Society because he wanted to use money for many people worldwide. He died of renal failure on February 11, 2006.